Hey everyone, it's Lindsay from My Crafty Plans. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about my planner lineup, what has been working for me this year, and what I am thinking for 2024 as we head into the last quarter of the year. I'm going to be comparing my stack as it currently stands to what I thought it would be at the beginning of the year. And if you want to review my original planner lineup, what I was thinking at the beginning of the year, I will have that video, my original 2023 planner lineup video, linked down in the description below. And I'm going to use that video as a framework for this discussion. I'm going to talk about how things have evolved over the course of the year and how I'm using that evolution to shape my decisions for next year. Hopefully my thought process on this will give you some ideas for your planner lineup for next year as you're thinking about what worked and what didn't for this year. And of course, if you've got any specific questions about my lineup or about something you're thinking about for next year, or there's a planner you want me to take a look at first, definitely let me know in the comments below. So let's dive in. So at the beginning of the year, I divided my planning system into 3 different categories. The first was my core functional planning system. The next I called my fun, flexible, and functional planning system. And then the third component of my planning system is memory keeping and journaling. I will be adjusting that framework for next year. Some parts of it are true, but the way that I think about my core planners versus flexible planners has evolved a little bit over the course of the year, and my new planner lineup is going to accommodate that. The first core planner, which is the most foundational planner in my planning system, and this has not changed at all, not only this year, but the year before this as well, and it's not changing for next year. That is my Moxie Life, my goal setting planner, and specifically the quarterly companion notebooks. This is just one of the companion notebooks, the one I'm currently in, as well as my annual goals notebook, which I keep in this Moxie Life folio. This is not only a planning system, but at this point, it is a framework that I use to strategize and think about my entire life. I really do live the Moxie Life, and this will absolutely be my goal setting planner and the foundation of my planning system, and continue to be one of the pillars and foundations of my life for next year as well. I do already have that planner for next year. We're going with pink because you know I had to, and I did buy the pink companion notebooks. I've already shared this. I was on the Moxie Life review crew again this year. Super honored to be a part of that, so I did get early access to this. So I've had these for quite some time. I have not written anything in them. I will not be touching these until December when I start to set my annual goals for next year, but absolutely I will be using the Moxie Life goal setting system again. And if you are newer to my channel and you're not familiar with Moxie Life, I have a ton of videos on here, including an entire goal setting playlist where I share my whole Moxie Life journey. So you can check that out for way more information, but that has worked super well for me, not only this year, but the year before as well. And this will be year 3 for me in the Moxie Life system, and that is absolutely the foundation of my planning system. Then my planner number 2 in my core foundational system from the beginning of the year was the Erin Condren Daily Duo. I am still using this planner. This is my current one here, which is the wildflower design. I went with this floral design this year. I also had a floral design for last year. I absolutely love this planner, and I still use this all of the time, and I do consider this a part of my foundational or core planner system. But like I said, the way that I think about my framework is a little bit different now. I'm going to push this off to the side and keep going, but I'm going to bring this back out, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. And then the third planner in my core functional system, as I defined it at the beginning of the year, was the Erin Condren Family Organizer. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, you will know that this is probably my favorite planner of the year. I am so obsessed with this. I love this. This has become so essential to my planning system, to my life. In a way that I really did not anticipate at the beginning of the year. I loved the idea of this at the beginning of the year and was really excited to try this out, but this planner has just taken over a much larger role in my planning system than I anticipated when the year started. I do feel Plan With Me's in here as well. Every month I set up my big monthly calendar. This is a color-coded calendar system that I use to just track everything that's going on in our lives. I have used this particular spread in some form or another since before I had any kind of planner, social media, or anything like that, a color-coded calendar is just very essential to the way my brain thinks, and it is now located in this planner. In addition to that, there's a lot of dashboard space in here. There's all these customizable pages, blank spaces, as well as a lot of journaling and memory keeping pages, which I will talk more about in a minute as well. So I love planning in here. It's so much fun. 2, I use this planner all of the time. I'm always in here. This is always open on my desk. And because of that, I actually have now placed this in like the sort of mental ranking of my core lineup. This is actually now number 2 in my system. And I really think of these as like a tag team set of planners that just keep my whole life on track, even if I never touch any other planners in my stack in a given day or a week, or I'm really, having an off moment and I need to take a step back from planning. Well, these 2 planners are still set up, because this you only have to set up once a month, and then I just add to it as needed. And this one, big picture of our monthly goals at the beginning of the month, and then weekly actions. Even if I do nothing else in planners in a week, I'm still setting weekly actions. So these 2 planners are just so core and essential to just everything that goes on in my life, basically. And I will absolutely be buying another family organizer for next year. I have not purchased it yet. There are 2 colorways available for next year as well. It's like Color Blends Bright or Color Blends Neutral. I'm leaning towards neutral right now, but I haven't fully committed to that at this point, so we will just see what happens with that. And if I did not already say, this is from Erin Condren. So those are the 3 planners in my core functional lineup. We've got the Moxie Life Quarterly Companion Notebooks, the Erin Condren Family Organizer, and the Erin Condren Daily Duo. All of these I will be using again next year. This was a July start planner, so this book particularly goes from July to December, but I already have the one for next year, which has the original wildflower covers on it right now. So this will be the one that I start in January. And again, I am still going to purchase the Family Organizer. I will probably pick that up on the Black Friday sale. But slight tweak of my framework here is I really think of these 2 and a third planner, which I'm going to get to, as kind of the core foundation of my planning system. The things that are set up in advance, check back in with as you needed, always have them open, always have them on hand, always have them set up, etc. Really, really functional. The third planner that has entered that category is actually the Laurel Denise planner, which this is my content planner. So this is a very specific planner for a very specific purpose. But like the Family Organizer, the way that this has worked for me is that I spend an hour on this one, a little bit longer on the Family Organizer, to be honest, getting this all set up for the month ahead. I get the monthly calendar planned out. In this planner, I do all of my dashboard space, and I just pre-date all of the weekly spreads, etc. Then throughout the week, every day, I'm just checking in with this. I leave this open on my desk, or I leave this propped open on the board behind my desk, and I can just see all of the things social media related that I have going on. I just make notes in here. It's very messy on a day-to-day, weekly basis, but this has worked super, super well for me for content planning. And again, this is only for one area of my life, but I do think of this as core to my planning system at this point. And I will also be using this for next year, but I am switching layouts. I do have a 2024 Laurel Denise planner already, and I got the horizontal edition instead of the vertical edition to begin in January. So the weekly spread just looks a little bit different. As you can kind of see here, what ends up happening in the weekly pages is I just end up like writing a bunch of little notes and in different random pieces of the weekly pages. And I just thought the horizontal would be a little bit more functional for that. So I can have like a weekly to-do list or a weekly notes section here. And then I can just use this whole section for notes or anything random that I want to jot down. And then this I can divide into 3 to do my daily planning of what I'm going to post on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So that is my game plan for this planner. I don't even think I had heard of the Laurel Denise planner at this point last year, so this was definitely not on my radar. This one I actually got at Go Wild as swag. I had heard of the planner at that point and purposefully sat at the Laurel Denise table so that I could have this when I saw a seat was available there. It was very exciting and very thrilling, and this has just become like an absolutely huge and essential part of my planning system. I love this planner. I think it's really fantastic. but I just do think that it works really well as a single life area planner. I think that this would also make a fantastic work planner or school planner for someone. For me, this is just not enough space, especially on like the weekly or daily, to be an all-in-one planner, even though I love the idea of being able to see your week and your month and your week and your dashboard space all at the same time. I think that's probably the reason that this planner exists, is also the reason why I am a multiple planner person. It kind of serves the same purpose because I will have a monthly planner and a weekly planner and a daily planner all open at the same time. Just with multiple planners, you get a lot more space. So I do really love this. I am a person who writes every little thing down, and I don't have the teeny tiniest handwriting, so it's not all gonna fit in here. That being said, this works extremely well for content planning, and I know a ton of other content creators, both in the planner community and actually outside of the planner community, that also use this planner for content planning. But at this point, instead of thinking of my core functional planners, I think of the 3 planners: the Laurel Denise Content Planner, my Erin Condren Family Organizer, which is my main monthly planner, and the Moxie Life Quarterly Companion Notebooks as kind of like the foundational monthly planning system. So I set those all up at the beginning of the month. Now, for Moxie Life, I am coming back to do weekly actions every week, but that's just, I think of those as the structure or the bones of my planning system. And while I still use the Daily Duo, the Erin Condren Daily Duo, and I still do use this most days, I think of this as more in the fun, flexible category now and less in the core section of my planner. That being said, on my fun, flexible side, which is where I put all of the different weekly planners that I have used throughout the year. I didn't pick one specific planner. I decided to just rotate. I use this way more than any of my weekly planners, but there are definitely plenty of blank pages in here of days that I didn't plan pretty much every weekend, but honestly, at this point, I'm usually skipping at least one weekday in here as well, sometimes more. I was traveling during this time, so that's why that's not set up. But you know, I use this a lot, but I don't use this every day. There's plenty of weeks where things look like that. I'm definitely not using this as strictly as every day as I was last year or as I anticipated at the beginning of the year. So speaking of that fun, functional, and flexible category, which was basically what I anticipated for all of my weekly spreads, I had a whole stack of planners, a lot of which I had been gifted from planner brands that I was planning to use throughout the year, basically picking a different planner to do a weekly overview spread for every week. I also have a ton of dashboards, little things like this that clip in or on sticky note pages that I also plan to use throughout the year, and I have done that. Overwhelmingly, I have used 3 planners, and one of these I have used more than others, which I will get to in just a second, but I also have not done this every single week. I usually have at least something set up. I have been using a ton of dry erase stuff this year. This has been my year of dry erase, wet erase planning. So I have this little dashboard. This is a newer one. This was from the fall Erin Condren seasonal bundle. I really like this. This is the second or third time that I've used this since I've gotten it. I also have a big one from Erin Condren that looks like this and sticks up on and this sticks to any shiny surface, and I can stick this right up on my closet door next to my desk, which has been awesome. So I also will often use this one as a week at a glance for my schedule or any to-dos going on. On the bottom here, I have another to-do list. This is from MC Squares. I have a ton of planning accessories from MC Squares. I also have weekly calendars from them that I also sometimes use in this same way. So last year, 2022, especially at the end of the year, I got really into planning sticky notes, like planning notepads and planning sticky notes. I had a really cool one from Ink and Bold, a couple from Erin Condren, and I was using those an absolute ton to do weekly overview spreads. This year has very much been the year of the reusable, the dry erase, and I have been so into that. When I do feel like I want a little bit more, the 3 planners that I've used more than any of the other planners in my stack for this year are my Moxie Life Flagship Horizontal, the Plum Paper Vertical Priorities Planner, and then just absolutely dominating in terms of how many times I've used it this year is the Erin Condren Hourly Life Planner. But when I use the Erin Condren Hourly Weekly Planner, I tend to use my Daily Duo a lot less. So when I'm planning in here, I will maybe only have like 1 or 2 days of the week where I've used this, or I'll just use the to-do list section. I won't necessarily do a full daily spread just because there is a lot of overlap in terms of what you can do in an hourly planner and in the Daily Duo layout. These have also been some of my like most simple spreads of the year that are also just like a little bit decorative. I love planning in here. I love just using different markers and highlighters and washi in here. Little things like that. I recently did like more of a stickering spread in here as well. I've just had a lot of fun with this planner and I find it super, super functional. The Erin Condren Hourly was my first Erin Condren planner ever, and just also the first planner I ever stickered in. So this planner has always had a special place in my heart. And I actually do plan on buying a new one for next year as well. I have not purchased that yet. Right now I'm leaning towards the Inspire colorway for that one, which I think will give a similar vibe and aesthetic to this one from this year, which has been such one of my favorites. Plus it's a fun way for me to incorporate a colorful planner since I'm usually more of a neutral planning person. This one is the Color Blends palette. Then the Plum Paper Vertical Priorities planner. This is the modern colorway. I love using journaling kit stickers in here. I think this is really, really fun planner and I just really love this layout as well. I actually already have one of these for next year because of an ordering mistake that I made. I accidentally ordered a 2024 one. They were super, super nice about it and sent me the 2023 one after. So, but because of that, I do already have this in the modern colorway for 2024. If I didn't already have this one, I would potentially order one in the new neutral color palette. They did release a line of completely neutral planners, which look so, so good. But I do like this color scheme a lot. And in general, I've found that it's worked really, really well for me when I've used this planner. So I am planning to keep this on rotation as part of my weekly planners when I want to use a weekly planner for next year as well. And then the last planner in that list was the MoxiLife Flagship Horizontal. This was the last spread that I did in here from October. I do have a plan with me of this up on my channel already. I used this planner a ton in the beginning of the year and then kind of backed off of it in towards the middle of the end of the year. I really like this. I really like stickering in a horizontal planner. This only works for me on a not super busy week. It is definitely a decorative schedule, but I do really, really like this. I did buy another MoxiLife flagship for the affiliate presale for the MoxiLife Review Crew this year, but I actually went with the vertical edition instead of the horizontal edition for this year. And that was mostly because I really loved the idea of having a lined vertical on rotation as an option. So I thought that would be really fun. And I do think I'm gonna get another horizontal planner for next year. Right now I'm actually leaning towards the Erin Condren horizontal planner in Canvas, which is a really neutral planner, because I like the stickering potential of that planner in the neutral color palette. And the Erin Condren vertical planner is not a layout that really works for me. It's got like 3 box sections with headers and no lines, and I just thought this would work a lot better for me. The lined vertical, I'm really excited to try this out. I've actually never planned in this specific layout before, so I'm really excited to give this a try, and I'm sure you will see this a lot, especially early in the year, as I'm just super, super excited to plan with a new layout. But overall, more than the specific planners, I've learned a lot about what I need bare minimum to function and what's fun to plan with to function. So I have those core monthly planners that I can always rely on. From a weekly perspective, my bare minimum that I need is somewhere to jot down a to-do list and an at-a-glance overview of my schedule, like anything that's time sensitive or appointments for the week. And that's it. Everything else for me that goes into a weekly planner is really optional or for fun or because I want to spend a little more time with it. The 2 essential things are what time sensitive things do I have this week? What's on my to-do list? And really, if I don't want to make a to-do list, I can leave out my MoxiLife, my weekly actions. But because of the way I set my weekly actions, which are a combination of tasks, habits, and just like mantras, mindset items for the week, I don't find that as functional. So what I do is I translate my weekly actions into whatever my weekly layout is going to be by just pulling out the individual task items and turning that into a weekly to-do list. That can go and be as simple as something like I'm writing on here. Sometimes I will put it on like the notes page in the Erin Condren Daily Duo. Sometimes I will put it in the sidebar of a weekly overview. Sometimes it'll even just go on my phone or on some kind of checklist like this that I can throw up on my door or on my board. And I expect that that will largely stay the same for into next year. I'm not expecting any major life changes in January that I think is going to totally change the way my planning system works. I did have some pretty major life changes over the course of this year. I wasn't anticipating it feeling like so much of a life change, but what I've been focusing on has really shifted from the beginning of the year as my youngest kid is now in school full-time, which she has been since this summer. She started at camp full-time over the summer, and then especially in the past couple of months, since the school day is a little bit longer than the camp day, it really does shift where my priorities are, not having a kid home with me, at least part-time, which I probably should have anticipated that because it is, objectively speaking, a large lifestyle change, but I hadn't really thought about that at the beginning of last year. In general, I expect my weekly and daily planning, at least in the beginning of the year, will look pretty similar to last year. Sometimes I will use a full weekly planner, sometimes I will do sticker spreads, sometimes I will do pen only, some weeks I will just use my daily duo, some weeks I'll use the hourly and barely use the daily duo. In general, this is working really well for me, and the continued focus for a weekly overview spread for me is definitely going to be scheduled events and a weekly task list. If a planner has a habit tracker, I do use it. If it doesn't, I typically don't use a habit tracker on my own. I have sticky note habit trackers and a dry erase habit tracker that I can use if I want to use them. Most weeks I honestly forget about my habit tracker at some point and I just haven't been checking things off, but I still feel like I'm making really good progress on my habits, so I'm not really emphasizing that right now, and I think that's totally fine. And likewise, my meal planning, which I always have stuck in my weekly planner, but now I've been using a monthly meal planning calendar, and I've actually been using the same monthly meal planning calendar since November of last year, so coming up on a year. It's from MC Squares. This is actually the November one. You know, this goes right on the fridge in the kitchen, and then I meal plan about a week at a time and just write it down on here as I'm unpacking the groceries. I've talked about meal planning before, and this is just up on our fridge always, so I always know what's going on, what's for dinner. I can look backwards and forwards on the calendar. I will put like key events and different things like that if it's going to impact our dinner plans on here. Because of that calendar, I don't feel it as necessary to have my dinner in my weekly planner. If there is space for it, I will put it in, but if not, or if I'm not using a weekly planner this week, then I will just kind of just go by the calendar in the kitchen. So that is where my head is at with my weekly and daily planning system. As I acquire more planners and want to test things out, I also have some undated planners left over from last year, different things like that. I do still plan to mix it up, try out different systems, try out different layouts. It's just really fun for me, and that will continue to be the case for next year as well. So the final component of my planner lineup, as I outlined at the beginning of the year, was my journaling and memory keeping. And this is where things have just really, really changed. So if you have been around my channel for a long, long time, you might know that I used to do a very, very decorative stickering vertical layout planner using full vertical weekly sticker kits. Sometimes they would look like this, sometimes like this, highly, highly decorative, and this was a memory keeping planning system. This is actually from, I want to say 2022, but yeah, this is from 2022. The shell here is from R. Estelle, and the inserts were from Caress Press, I believe. I never finished this planner out from 2022. I stopped. I think I've done all of the, no. There are random weeks missing in here, and I also didn't do anything from the end of September on in 2022. I got so behind in this and then just kind of gave up. My original intention was to finish this out. That is no longer my intention. I don't plan on doing this. I also did buy inserts for this to do it next year. I bought undated inserts, and I thought once I finished out 2022, I would make this a sometimes thing. These inserts are from Sadie Stickers, and again, this shawl is from R. Estelle, and I never used this once. I never went back and did this weekly planning in here. I will not be buying any new inserts for this style of planning, obviously. I do plan to use the stickers that I purchased for this planner, however. I've already started using some of them. That weekly horizontal spread, the last one that I showed you, that was actually using a sticker kit that I had purchased for my memory planner. So I just plan to pull those stickers in whenever so that I do use all of the gorgeous stickers that I bought. I had also hoped to do some more like art journaling styling things in my Archer and Olive notebook. Neither of those things really happened, and particularly this, though not doing the weekly stickering spreads, was a really big change from years past, and somebody actually asked me on one of my videos if I missed doing this style of memory planning, and the answer is actually 100% no. I think if I missed it at all, I would still make time to do it, but I don't. And there's two reasons for that. This ultra decorative style of memory planning fulfills two spreads, and I feel like I am meeting both of those needs through my regular planning system, and I think that that is why I don't miss this style of planning. The first of those needs is just having creative fun with stickers, and I feel like I get enough of that in my functional planning routine. I get to do these fun setups in my monthly planner. I do stickering spreads in my weekly planner sometimes, like the horizontal one that I showed. When I feel like using pretty stickers, I use pretty stickers. I just use them in my functional planner. And then two is the actual memory recording and memory keeping. And I feel like even though I'm not doing this style of spread, I am still doing memory keeping. And that is where the Erin Condren Family Organizer comes back in. I'm actually doing more journaling and more memory keeping this year than I had before. It's less of a day-to-day account of everything I do throughout the day and more of, you know, book journaling, major milestones in the kids' life, general journaling. I still do my line a day memory keeper, which again, I've done for years, and more guided journaling prompts. I've also done more journaling just freehand in here, spreads in my Archer and Olive notebook, and then also like guided prompts that I've gotten through the Moxie Life system, through Club Moxie, through various elements like that, which have been done directly in my Moxie Life companion notebooks or in just random notebooks around. And I've also done more sticker memory spreads like this style or the ones that I did for Go Wild. Most of these have pictures of my kids, so I don't share them on the channel, but here was one from like Go Wild that I had done, and this was from my husband and I 10-year anniversary trip, and this is all in my family organizer. So I think between the two things, separating them out, having a space to like record more memories and make it, and especially with like the pictures and honestly the book journaling too, it just like feels so special to me, and that completely satisfies the need to like record my life. And the stickering has just come more on the functional side of things and still has been really satisfying. Again, sometimes I do very decorative functional spreads. When I feel the need to play with stickers like that, I do. So I don't really see myself going back to the full-on stickering memory spreads. That being said, I absolutely love the way that those look, and I still follow a ton of people. I watch Plan With Me's in that style. I do think it's very, very beautiful, but this has just worked so much better for me and has just felt like a lot more functional and special to me for this year. So I plan to keep going with this. I still plan on using my family organizer a lot this year, and I'm hoping, now that I feel a lot better about my journaling practice, I actually do plan to kind of expand that for next year, and I want to do more in my journal, which this book is like one part swatch book. So I have all of my Simply Gilded washi swatched in here, plus all of my entire pen collection is also swatched in here. And then just on random pages throughout, I have like random planner spreads. Like when I wanted a Go Wild budget tracker, I just put it in here. Random like doodly things that I've done because I needed something for a brand or for something for my social media. Daily planning page that I drew out for a collab with Zebra. Random stencil checks. Like this whole book is completely random, and it's very difficult to find things. Random journaling spreads that I've done. So this book is completely random. There's like no rhyme or reason to how I have organized things, and it's very difficult to find things if I'm looking for them. So my game plan for next year is to get 2 separate books. One which is going to be a swatch book where all of my new pens and markers will be swatched. I'll probably re-swatch my old collection because I love swatching things. And also I will be swatching Simply Gilded, all of my Simply Gilded washi. I will probably just divide that book in half and do like half for pens, half for Simply Gilded washi. Call it a day. I'm thinking about getting something a little bit smaller for that, like maybe an A5 size. This is a B5 size Archer and Olive notebook. I will still be using an Archer and Olive notebook for that. It's just the paper is so high quality and you can really do just like anything with it. Like you can paint on it, you could do literally anything. So that, and then I plan on getting another journal for next year that's going to be my actual journal. So, and by that I mean it'll be like a bullet journal / journal. I'm not going to do like daily and weekly spreads in a bullet journal or monthly calendars or anything like that, but anything that would have been like a bullet journal collection, like when I wanted to do a Go Wild budget, or if I want to make a specific spread around something, some kind of tracker for something, or for a collab that I'm doing with a brand. I'll have a space to put that in all together. I want to better index that so I can find things. And then also just have space to do a journal for when I want to have journal. I'm toying with the idea of also moving my book journaling into there, but haven't fully committed to that idea yet because I also do like having that in my family organizer. So we'll see about that. I do expect that my journaling practice will evolve more next year as I feel like it really started in earnest this year. And beyond that journal, I will still have my family organizer as kind of like the prompt system for how I record family memories. I have Moxie Life for the prompt system for how I think about journaling. And I just plan to have more of that in an organized space. I also am thinking I want to do more of those stickering spreads. I've been thinking about getting a Canon Ivy as well or something like that, one of those little photo printers. And I want to just do more of that stuff in here and, you know, get more artistic with it, but then also have a separate space to do all of my swatches because I love swatching things. That is how my planner lineup is looking right now and how I'm thinking about next year. Honestly, at this point last year, I feel like I was so confused about what I was gonna do for my planning system for 2023. But at this point this year, I feel my planner lineup is like 95% set going into 2024. I will, of course, have a final video in December at some point with my exact planner lineup, and I will share that with all of you. But I'm just feeling really good about how my planner system has worked this year, how it has evolved this year, how I'm currently thinking about it, and feeling really, really solid with my choices overall. And this is also what I'm using to make my Black Friday shopping list for all of those planners that I haven't gotten for 2024 yet. I will definitely be picking most of those up on Black Friday sales. Let me know how you're feeling about your planner lineup down in the comments below. Do you have questions? What have you got your eye on? I can't wait to hear all about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And you can also check me out on Instagram and TikTok at MyCraftyPlans. I do want to just give a quick shout out to my TikTok channel. If you've really got questions about what planner to use for next year, go over to my TikTok channel. I've got a whole series of videos there where I help people pick out their planners. All you have to do is leave a comment with some information about what you're looking for in a planner, and I will help you shop for your planner. So definitely check that out if that's something that you're interested in. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.